welcome back to Top Cheddar Sports. I'm Brett here to recap the NHL draft that just wrapped up just now. I wrote down draft notes as it was going on, so let's get right into it. Jack Hughes, no surprise, went first overall to the New Jersey Devils. This kid is a tremendous skater. He's got great hands. He can score. He's the complete package. Great pick for the Devils. He'll be a cornerstone piece for them for the future. Plays a similar style. I think he's compared a lot to Patrick Kane, but I kind of see a lot of Zach Parise in him, ironically enough. So the Devils will love him there. I'd say his floor is like a Jonathan Drouin. And then, his ceiling is Patrick Kane or even better. I mean, this kid's going to be great. Second overall, Capo Kaku to the New York Rangers. Big, strong, powerful right winger. Good pick for them. 1 and 2 were no surprise. We all knew they were going to go. That was going to go the way they were. But two very good picks. Kaku's a guy that could definitely step in year one. Same with Hughes, and I think make a big impact. And then third overall was Kirby Dach, who went to the Blackhawks. This was kind of an interesting pick. I thought the Blackhawks might take Byram, the defenseman here, because they need some defensive help. But Kirby Dach, some center depth. Really good player, good two-way player there, big body. He'll get to learn from Jonathan Toews, which will be incredibly beneficial for him. And he should do very well as well for the Blackhawks. He could play this year, but I think he's a year or two out still. We'll see that. So Bowen Byram was the best defenseman in the draft, as I mentioned. He went to the Colorado Avalanche at 4. This is a guy that's going to step in next year and help immediately off the bat. Very, very, very good defenseman, elite potential. I really liked him. I thought, like I said, I thought Chicago would have taken him. I'm surprised he fell even to 4. That's how good this kid is. So really good for the Avalanche, who really building some nice depth with Cal McCarr, Eric Johnson, Tyson Barrie, although there's trade rumors surrounding him now, but I'll get into that. And now they add Byram. So Avalanche already a good team, just continuing to get better. There was only one trade tonight, so there was a lot of trade rumors coming into this around several players, like Zucker obviously still has trade rumors. There was some talks about Charlie McAvoy, Phil Kessel, Chris Letang, Tyson Barrie, a couple other names. But the only trade that wound up happening didn't include any player at all. The Flyers sent the 11th overall pick to the Arizona Coyotes, who then took Victor Soderstrom, who's a defenseman, and Arizona sent the 14th and the 43rd pick to the Flyers, and the Flyers at 14 took Cam York, an American defenseman there. Both defensemen, solid players. I don't really see a huge skill level difference there, so I guess good on the Flyers to pick up an extra pick there. Top goalie in this year's draft, it was Spencer Knight. He was taken by the Florida Panthers at 13th overall. This kid, one of the better goalie prospects we've seen in a very long time in the draft. I really like this pick for the Panthers. It's not going to affect the Sergei Bobrovsky market at all because he's probably 3 or 4 years out. So I still expect the Panthers to make a full push for Bobrovsky this offseason. But obviously, this is their future goaltender, and I thought it was a really good job by the Panthers to acknowledge that goalie's been weak for them in the past and pick up their franchise goalie. And then the biggest steals of the draft, in my opinion, that we saw, the Vegas Golden Knights at number 17 took Peyton Krebs. This is a guy that I think should have been top 10, but he kind of fell in the draft because he did have an Achilles injury, much like Kevin Durant, but not as bad. He was a captain of his team at just age 17. He's a really strong skating winger. I think this kid is going to be really, really something special, and Vegas definitely got a steal there at 17. Good for the Knights. And then the Washington Capitals took Connor McMichael at 25. I really like Connor McMichael. Really good pick. He's got really good, quick hands. Natural goal scorer, and he's from the London Knights, who just pump out good NHL players. Robert Thomas, Matt Tkachuk, Christian Dvorak, Mitch Marner. The list goes on. I mean, the London Knights are just a fountain of NHL impact players, and he's just another one that's going to be added to that list. Mark my words on that. Good for the Capitals, really good pick there. And then I really liked Braden Tracy going to the Anaheim Ducks at 29. Another really good skating winger and just a really creative player. I think the Ducks got a really good steal there as well. And then just some other things to note with the draft. Cool to see the Sedins come out. Gary Bettman brought out the Sedins because he was getting booed. Obviously, it was planned all along, but they played it off that way. Sedins got a nice round of applause. They were in Vancouver. Cool to see them together. I would expect both of their numbers to probably be retired this year at some point. I'd be really surprised if they weren't. Brad Shriveling kind of trolled he's the Calgary Flames GM. He trolled the Canucks fans there saying, oh, thank you for the hospitality, everything's great. But we want to give a shout out to the best fans in hockey, obviously the divisional rivals. That got a big boo from the crowd. And then, of course, 2011 is still very fresh in the minds of the passionate Canucks fans. And they rained boos onto the Boston Bruins when they picked at 30. So that was kind of funny to see as well. I don't blame them at all, but that was cool to see. Ryan Suzuki, Nick Suzuki's brother, Nick Suzuki draft pick that ended up, I don't know if I can't remember, I think he was drafted by Vegas in Vegas' first year, so 2 years ago. Nick Suzuki, very good center. He might get playing time finally with the Knights this year, but his brother Ryan Suzuki goes to Carolina at 28 overall. Ryan Suzuki, I don't think he's quite as good as his brother, at least yet. But I do like that pick. I think both will be very good players in the league. Another thing to note, there were 8 Americans drafted in the first round, and a lot of defensemen coming into the draft. It was all the defensive prospects were kind of projected to go second or third round, but you saw a lot taken here in the first round, and that's, I think, indicative of kind of where the league's at right now. Teams want that defensive help, and they want to prevent teams from scoring more so than scoring themselves. That's kind of where the focus is at there. And yeah, so the last bit is there's still lots of good prospects. I mean, just even the 18th best prospect, 21st best ranked prospect, they're all still available. There's a lot of depth here still going into the second round. So I think that tomorrow when they do rounds 2 through 7, we might see more of those trades that I was kind of expecting to see tonight. But regardless, there's going to be still a lot of shakeups here, a lot of moving around, a lot of teams making moves as we approach free agency and get even closer. We'll have all that news in our annual weekly Wednesday night recap for you here on TopCheddar. So leave a like, leave a comment, let me know who you think was the best steal in the draft, what you think Jack Hughes is going to do. If you think Jack Hughes is not going to be a good player.
Are you delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
And yeah, let me know just kind of your overall thoughts as well on the draft, because I'm curious to know. Rounds 2 through 7 tomorrow, and baseball on Monday. Thanks for tuning in.